The competition for dongles this year gets more and more exciting day by day. And not to be left out, AFUL, which is a name quite popular since the last 2 years, released their first dongle, which is this AFUL Snowy Night. Yep, there it is. As you can see here, if you are based in Malaysia, you can already get this just listed here under Star Speaker Audio Library, which is in Shopee, priced at 596 Malaysian ringgit. And if you are based internationally, you can get this Snowy Night at around 125 US dollar. As you can see here, dual Cirrus Logic CS43198, and as noted there, I have no idea what sort of amplifier modules being used on this Snowy Night, but I do know that it has dedicated, or should I say dedicated amplifier on both sides of the channel, as you can see from the graph here, taken from AFUL themselves, but no idea what they are. And as expected with CS43198, the resolution is quite high at 768 kHz, 32-bit, and capable of DSD256. Power-wise, it is quite impressive as well, rated at 140 from the single-ended and 300 milliwatt of power from the balance side. Signal-to-noise ratio, again, I don't have to explain too much. As per expected with a well-tuned and well-built CS43198, as high as 130 dB of signal-to-noise ratio. And gladly, I would say that it also offers this independent volume adjustment here, which I believe is 100 step. I have tested it. And here, all right, let's just quickly have a closer look at the hardware itself. Okay, entirely built of CNC aluminum. This thing is very solid, you know, black in color, powder coated, and it should be able to stand some, rough usage because it is powder coated. USB Type-C female here. And perhaps the most interesting part about this Snowy Night, this cable here, have a look. All right, this cable itself is super impressive, very solidly built. Apparently it is made of 6N crystal copper, so I can say that the build of the cable itself is premium. So it is robust, thick, as it is very well built. When we talk about sound and performance, I have decided to do a bit differently with this review, starting from this point onward for Dongle Madness. Because the key thing is that when you judge on a DAC or dongle like this, or any other dongle, you can only judge them with the sort of listening partner you attach to them. So let's just do it this way. Okay, let me just clarify one thing. Okay, first and foremost, the test which I will always do or perform on any type of DAC or dongle is that neutrality. How neutral is this AFUL Snowy Night when used against these two particular reference which I have here, Kinera Idun Golden, okay, flat neutral, and this Ethymotic ER2XR, okay, slightly boosted in the mid bass but still neutral enough, transparent. So I would just simply say that, this is not exactly as neutral as how I have heard it from other reference. And in this example, I would just simply compare it against this FIO BTR15. This is truthfully neutral. And why I say it is not exactly neutral, have a look at here. Okay, so as you can see here, looking at the mid-range itself, yes, it is neutral. I would say that linear neutral. So there's flatness or even transparency with the mid-range itself. But when we look at the upper frequency, it is boosted neutral. And why I say boosted neutral, when I use this Ethymotic ER2XR especially, right, I can hear that the energy, the sparkle, and the definition of the upper frequency, anywhere from upper mid-range all the way to the treble decay, somewhat appeared enhanced. Okay, so what I'm trying to say is that there's amount of coloration, right? Yes, coloration there, as opposed to how I compare it with other neutral DAC amp like this FIO BTR15. And it is consistent as well when I use it against this Kinera Idun Golden. Okay, there's some coloration in the upper frequency. And when we talk about lower frequency, okay, so lower frequency also appeared, as noted there, enhanced neutral. Again, the keyword here is enhanced. If you would try to use it like something, this Sennheiser HD 600 here, which is another of my neutral reference, okay, I can clearly hear that the texture and the definition of the lower frequency itself is richer, okay, which is a good thing, but it also means that there's a bit of coloration there, there's a bit of enhancement there with the texture and the resolution and the imaging of the lower frequency itself. So it might appeal to certain listener, but if you are after the sort of sound which you consider as neutral and transparent and uncolored, then probably Snowy Night is not exactly suitable for that. But if you like something which is a bit more energetic and vibrant with the lower frequency, right, rich with the density itself, even when tested with Sennheiser HD600, yes, this is the one to go for. And to further demonstrate that, okay, let me just show you this. Okay, these are my two electrostatic reference, okay, and I have used it extensively with this AFUL Snowy Night here. And I must say that on the synergy factor between these two are just excellent. Okay, the keyword here is excellent. Because Snowy Night, especially when attached to this stack SRM002, which is natively natural sounding, which is natively warm sounding, right? It offers the kind of balance which I would consider as something between analytical and musical, right? The way it flows, the transient and everything, it just sounded so pleasant and also so resolving at the same time. So it pairs really well with this stack SRM002. And when I pair it with this Shure KSE 1500, my ultimate reference, okay, the best of the very best, I can just simply describe it this way. It is kind of a bit brighter because of that enhanced upper frequency, and slightly a bit bassier as well with the low frequency because of that enhanced lower frequency. The mid-range is super transparent and clear, but the good thing is that it does not sound offensive at all, okay, with the way it presents the upper frequency. It is definitely energetic, sparkly, great amount of air and definition to the upper frequency itself. And I think most importantly of how this Snowy Night was able to emit the sort of detail, micro and macro detail, which this KSE 1500 was capable of. And they are just running on 3.5 mm single-ended, okay? So which listening partner then best to pair with this AFUL Snowy Night? Let me just give you this example. You see here, this Truth Ear Nova Harman Tune, and this my favorite here, Magnetic Planar, Sivga Nightingale, and this Bequest Winter, alright. I have tried with the three of them. I would just simply openly declare that these three sounded the best when used with this AFUL Snowy Night, okay. Because in contrast, when compared against this neutral reference which I mentioned earlier, okay, the synergy with this warm sounding partner here, alright, jive really well with the enhanced upper frequency of this AFUL Snowy Night. Okay, it can be a bit brighter or even, just simply, more sparkly, more energetic when I pair with this Final Audio A5000 or even this Hidis MP145, because these two are naturally colored, okay, when it comes to the upper frequency or even lower frequency. So for example, when I use it with this Final Audio A5000, this A5000 is a strong V sound profile, and it gets even more emphasized, stronger with the V sound profile with enhanced upper frequency and enhanced lower frequency when attached to this AFUL Snowy Night. Whereas when I use it with this BTR15, which is flat neutral, okay, this one still sounded V but not so emphasized. So I can even say that when it comes to transparency, right, this BTR15 still has it, and this AFUL Snowy Night is definitely colored. As for driving power, I already shown you this HD600 here, Sennheiser 300 ohm, and true enough, as advertised, this AFUL Snowy Night was able to drive this HD600 properly, right? The headroom was good. The volume needed was at around 38 out of 100 at the click of this independent volume adjustment here. Once you achieve a proper listening loudness, okay, the sort of sound which I'm getting from this Snowy Night is just simply rich, engaging, and in fact, I would even say that, analytical. But the caveat is that as compared when driven through other DAC amp, especially when compared against desktop DAC amp or even more powerful dongle, something like, DACport HE or even this FIO BTR15, I get a bit more of soundstage space. So what I'm trying to say is that despite sounding rich and engaging, all right, the soundstage seems to be less wider than how it was supposed to be attached to other more powerful DAC amp. When used as a portable device, attached to my Xiaomi Mi 90 phone here, 4000 mAh of battery, driving Tanjim 0, which is at 32 ohm from the 4.4mm balance, this AFUL Snowy Night is quite impressive. Was able to score 15 hours before it ran out of battery on my phone. For your information, everything that you see there is not all of them, okay? But I just try to narrow down with those competition which uses dual CS43198. So as you can see here, overall, this Snowy Night is definitely impressive. But perhaps I should also describe some of the differences between some of the most recent releases, especially with SIM-God Duo 4X. So I would just simply say that yes, this AFUL Snowy Night does offer a bit more of refinement when it comes to the way it handles the sound itself. As you can see there, Snowy Night scores perfect 10 when it comes to dynamic sound presentation as compared to Duo 4X and even perhaps the rest of the competition, even when compared against FIO KA5. Okay, so as for the rest of it, you can see that it has good amount of power. As claimed, this was able to drive 300 ohm headphone, and true enough, no problem with this. Okay, lots of headroom left. And feature and usage pretty much, average. But let's just compare against the rest of the competition here. I would just simply say that among many of them, this is one of prime example of how if you want something which is rich and enhanced with the sound presentation itself, it has that elegance, it has that maturity, but lacking a bit of neutrality when compared against something like Aune Yuki or even Colorfly CDA M2. You can pause the screen, have a look at it. It is well balanced between analog natural sound and hi-fi sound presentation. Somewhere there, right in the middle. Just perhaps edging slightly closer to being analog, but it is pretty much identical in the way it presents the sound, right? The sound signature itself with Colorfly CDA M2, Duo 4X, KA5, Moondrop MR2, and the rest, as you can see there. With so many dongles to choose from nowadays at alarming rate, okay, this AFUL Snowy Night present another option for the consumer if you are looking for something which is rich in the way it presents the sound, elegant with the way it handles the dynamic transient and itself. But I would just simply say that if you prefer something which is transparent and uncolored, perhaps Snowy Night is not the dongle for you. But if you like, energetic, vibrant sound, which is like, say, something which will bring life to your listening partner, especially if you prefer V sound curve, Harman sound curve, or even something which is natively warm sounding and put a bit more of energy to it, then AFUL Snowy Night has what it takes to bring those elements to that listening partner.